Welcome to No Room for Phonies, episode 58.
Hello, everybody.
And tomorrow is Valentine's Day, the day of
Valentine's
love.
Day.
So I thought it would be good when you're thinking about hearts to talk about health, because hearts and health and all that stuff. But I would like to say that we are healthier than this plant. Let me hold it up.
Here,
properly.
hold it up.
There.
It's a beautiful little rose bush.
It's in the window of his office, and I think it's dead. So I just want to know.
I did try to water it.
I want you to know that we're healthier than that. So anyway, it's healthy living Voth style. And first of all, I want to do my green light moment. And I don't know, I've been thinking a lot about taking a pause and just bringing balance and perspective into your life, because life is fast moving and stuff happens and you don't always, and the idea, I would say that I'm a fairly black and white person. I see things pretty, no?
Well, black and white always means rigid to me.
Oh,
you're
no. But I see truth.
Yes, you discern very well.
Yes. So
you have a sharp instinct.
Right. So for me, the green light moment is kind of stepping back and trying to help people by just asking the right kinds of questions rather than saying, well, that doesn't seem right. Here's my kind of solution. And a big green light moment for me is to know that something is wrong and then back away and just still live your moral compass and your values and your principles, and just remembering that everybody is doing the best they can with the resources that they have and their level of consciousness and what they have access to, and that actually includes you too, like yourself.
Yes. That
you are doing the best you can
with what you
And
have.
I would say that one of my bigger things is being very hard on myself.
Yes.
Right. And thinking that I'm not measuring up, or I've done something wrong, or
I think we all slide in and out of that trap sometimes, some of us more than others. But
I've been reading Brene Brown's
Atlas
of the Heart. I read just a couple of novel things and about, because historical fiction can really take you certain places and make you think about things, even fiction.
There's a few books I read in my 20s, which was fiction that took me in a completely different route in my life.
Right. And we're going to actually do a podcast later on about the 10 most kind of impactful books in our...
Absolutely.
So, anyway, I'm recommending The Maid as the fun read book of the book recommendation. My kids and my husband got me a book subscription for Christmas, and this book, and it also comes
it comes in a box with a whole bunch of other kind of little add-ons that are all tied around the theme of the book.
And it's not cheap, and so I think I have one more month coming, but it's very much fun. So anyway.
So there's a food item, there's like maybe a little trinket, a kind of
sometimes
something funny.
Funny, yeah. So anyway, the book that came is The Maid. I probably read it in a couple of days. It was an excellent book. And anyway, I've passed it along to my friend. But I highly suggest, if you just want to read something fun with a little bit of mystery and kind of like a murder mystery kind of a theme, it's a great book to read.
Okay.
To recommend Brene Brown's podcast, Unlocking Us. I don't know if she's back on Spotify or if she's paused.
Don't know if she's still paused. She will be coming back. It sounded like from her article.
And anyway, lots of people have been very critical of Brene Brown and what's going on Spotify. And I'm going to say to you that I really think that Brene Brown's message is important enough that it overrides what is bad about Spotify.
Well, it's not Spotify. It's just
the other guy on Spotify.
But Brene Brown's response was very, very even-keeled and really...
Yeah. Anyway, perfect. So I have no problem with that.
Yeah, so her podcast is called Unlocking Us. Well, she has two. There's Daring to Lead and then Unlocking Us. And she had a guest. Yeah, well, anyway,
actually, the night that I listened to it, I was kind of iffy about it. But then as I got thinking about it, she did she has a lot of guests that talk about the books they've written. So she had Sue Monk Kidd on, and not only her most recent book that they were talking about is the Book of Longings, which I read, and it's the story of Jesus Christ and his wife. Just a very interesting historical fiction. So historical fiction. Anyway, but when I was listening to Sue Monk Kidd, she talked about traveling with her daughter and writing a book with her daughter. Like, she just has like a ton of books, of great books out. So Brene Brown's podcasts where she's actually talking to authors are really worth a listen, because you get some really good ideas and some stuff to read.
We've purchased some of the books that the authors were interviewed.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about healthy living. And so I've kind of divided it up into sections. And the first way that we really actually do try to live healthy is by the food that we eat.
Absolutely. And we both love cooking. Yeah. Pam does a lot of it right these days.
No, but we're not vegan and we're not vegetarian.
Nope.
We try to be, as much as we possibly can, sugar-free.
I'm celiac, so it's definitely wheat and barley free.
Our whole house is wheat free because he is so sensitive that it's...
Oh, thanks. I am sensitive.
He's so sensitive to wheat that it's just not worth the whatever. In fact, when we go out, a lot of times we just take his own food, because I know for some people that might seem insulting, but when you're that sensitive and it does nasty things to you.
And wheat particles hide in all sorts of places in the kitchen, like in the beaters or the underside.
I guess that would be my big thing is if someone calls up and says, yeah, we'd love to come for dinner, but my husband or my wife is celiac, so they're going to be bringing their own stuff. Don't be offended. No. It's such a horrible thing in your body that you don't want to experience it.
But despite that, we do eat not low carb, but healthy grains.
Yeah.
And oats gluten-free oats are very, very healthy. And then sweet potatoes and squash instead of starchy potatoes and stuff like that. But we're not absolutely...
But we have Taco Tuesday, and it involves meat, usually, and corn and those kinds of things.
We have a vegetarian/vegan meal 3 nights a week, maybe. 2.
Probably, yeah.
And then some fish, some chicken, some beef.
So, I mean, still a very balanced.
Bacon every once in a while.
But we're really, really, really focusing on avoiding sugar.
Because it inflames every aspect of our bodies.
Yeah. And we have a glass of red wine. Like, it's not like we don't have...
No.
And our meals are great. Yeah. Like, tonight we're having a Tuscan bean soup. It has red onions and garlic.
All you have to do is go to the blog, No Room for Phonies, and look on the food tab. And you'll see
there's a lot of great recipes there. And they're all gluten-free, because I can't cook any other way for him. Right. So that's great. And I guess the other thing that I will say about our food is we don't buy prepackaged stuff, because especially even for vegan and vegetarian and definitely gluten-free, it is so full of sugar a lot of times.
A lot of gluten-free stuff to make it taste a little better. They add a ton of sugar.
And fats. We try to use coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil, those kinds of things. And I realize that we are lucky, I guess, because we have money to buy certain kinds of things. But I'm going to suggest to you that if you plan your menus and you think it through and you don't waste money on potato chips and a lot of unhealthy things, because I buy nachos a lot, but not potato chips.
We had to work through the life isn't convenient anymore because of my gluten issues. So,
it's a budget item. It's a health item. It's just...
So it's non-negotiable. So, I mean, yes, a meal might take 40 minutes or 30 minutes to prepare rather than the quick pasta or craft dinner or whatever that, everybody kind of has those tough nights where you just want to open up a quick meal and whatever, but we just can't.
We don't do it. So, and if you want to say...
The grocery aisle is, the vegetable aisle at the grocery is actually quite affordable.
Oh, yeah. And I know things are expensive right now, and I'm going to also give a shout out to frozen vegetables, because now when vegetables are frozen, they're quick frozen. So they're not losing the nutrients and things that are. So when you see vegetables, if you're on a tight budget, when you see a bag of vegetables on sale, buy it. Buy 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And an investment in a freezer is a great investment. Absolutely. Even if you don't have a ton of room, there's small freezers, there's all kinds of things that you can do. And being able to buy a few things on sale and stick them in a freezer is, to me, is really important. So our second part is the fresh air part, and we try to be outside
every day, unless it's pouring rain.
Or extremely like a blizzard or something. We walk outside. So that, I think when our kids were little, I said, I always laugh because I said I aired them an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. And if it was a nice day, we mostly spent the whole day outside. Like other than, and sometimes I would even just bring their food out to them. Yeah. Like snacks and lunch, and they just spent the whole day outside and whatever we did. So fresh air is like our number 2. And then
lately we've started, in the last year, we've been doing exercise since the beginning of COVID, but in the last year we've started working in more and more yoga as well.
And that breathing, the kind of breathing. And I will also give a shout out to Megan Mackay, who is our physiotherapist, because she's just not your average physiotherapist. She has sent exercises and breathing techniques, and she's quite highly trained. And so finding the right kind of support for finding out exercises that will help the parts of your body, like as you get older, and we're like now, and
past the mid-century, your hips, your back, your like all that. And that's why I'll get into this bit on weight training. But you're a yoga guy, like for men, eh? Yeah. So I found like a lot of people aren't into the whole namaste and, all the fancy hand postures and whatever. So I found a male yoga teacher, and I mean, his yoga is not gender specific, but the way
I do it with him,
the way he teaches is it's all about like a phys ed. Imagine a phys ed teacher that loves sports teaching you how to do yoga without talking with all the names of the poses and without saying namaste.
He'll say them, but he's not really.
Not usually. No. Well, he'll call it the tree pose or whatever, right. But he mostly just say, okay, we're going to do this, and then this muscle does this, and then you have to do this. And he breaks down all of the poses so that you are really aware of what muscles you are engaged in. Well,
and I just love the way, like today we did one.
And the breathing is good.
What was today's for? Hips,
ankles, knees.
Yeah. So anyway, he was just describing like where you should put your weight, and then he'll say, and tighten your abs and all those things.
And then he'll say, like, pinch your thighs.
Yeah.
Or squeeze your thighs. And he goes, if you don't know what I mean, he goes, put a piece of paper between your legs and hold it there. That's what I mean by squeeze your thighs.
And when you were standing with your feet together, he said, like, put your toes together.
And your heels an inch apart.
Like, it's very specific. So in the show notes, we can put a link to him.
Yeah, it's Man Flow Yoga, but we'll put a link to him and to Megan.
And then our weight. I feel I'm very...
The weight training and the...
Like, you can't see, but flabby arms, right, are the curse of women in their 50s and 60s and 70s and whatever.
And soft guts for guys.
Yeah. So weight training, and we will 100% say HasFit, Heart and Soul Fitness.
Yeah.
Free. Except if you want to like download a program, which might be like $14.99 American or something, and they send a calendar that you can link to the various workouts. But yoga and breathing and weight training are like huge for us.
And I used to hate anything fitness wise, and I'm a complete convert.
Yeah, so. It does. If you're stressed about something, it helps.
Yep.
You come out of it feeling because
it kills whatever cortisol or adrenaline. It kind of dampens that. So it's really good.
So those are the ones we use. And I don't really have anything else that I use. And I've been through the gambit. Personal trainer, gym, all this stuff. And we've purchased minimal equipment, mats, We have those puzzle piece things because when I do like a push-up on my knees or something, I need extra stuff down there. We have one adjustable weight set, and then we have
3 others individual.
5, 8s, 10s, and 15s. Right. We have hand grip weights and ankle weights, which we use that are even lighter.
Right.
And but
we
you
can
have a
use
ball.
Water bottles. We have an exercise ball. And then bands. We got the elastic.
Yeah, like the ones with the handles, and then the ones that go between, like around your legs.
They're rings, yeah.
Those kinds of things. And we have a push-up bar, little bars, but nothing. Like, that's it. We don't have a ton of...
No.
So you don't have to spend $1 million.
And we spent it over 2 years. We accumulated gradually.
Yeah, as we got, like when if you're first starting, you're not going to be lifting 15. Well, maybe you will, but I'm still
we
not.
We didn't, because we didn't want to injure ourselves.
Yeah. So this is not, and they'll say that. Yeah. And they're another one who described very well how to do things. Like it's and it's a man and a woman, which I really like. And there have been a lot of times when she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Because she's just
pregnant. At least I remember some videos. She's like 6 months. Along,
and she keeps going. So, and they also have things for chair-bound people. Like they have beginner stuff. They have, if you're limited mobility, like anything you could want, they have. Heart and Soul HASFIT training. And then the other thing I wanted to just talk about is kind of our thinking patterns and perspective. And I mean, I'm going to give another shout out to Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart and some of her other books that we have read.
What's the one? I thought it was just me, but
I thought it was just me, but it isn't.
That's the subtitle, or is that the title?
No, that's the title. Okay. I thought it was just me. Just because, like, she's so like honest about her own struggles. So sometimes you feel like, well...
And she's summarizing the stories of more than 1,000 people and finding the common traits amongst, all races, all income groups. It's very, very...
Yeah, and I'll give it...
shows the universal...
Yeah. So I would highly recommend... I just bought a book about... the dance of fear, and this author actually has the dance of anger, the dance of this, so I mean that's another perspective. I think the other thing that I would highly recommend, like we've taken a bunch of Udemy courses, and we were sort of stuck on this one guy for a while, and then we've sort of branched out. And we took one on brain research, right?
That was very good, because it really addressed thinking patterns in a different way.
Right, and I would say that we spend at the most a half hour a day, with an online course or something that's helping us to...
Or reading a book, a part of a book together. Or
helping us with our thinking patterns, because it's perspective is everything, right? And I just find myself not getting as caught up in... some of the stuff that's going on in the world, because I can say, okay, yeah, I think that's bad. And, we would do whatever it is we feel that we need to do with it. But then you can, your mind and your anxiety and whatever, there are actually strategies to control that or make whatever. So, and then I'm just looking at on your shelf over there, Atomic Habits, right? That's another.
This has been a very, very good book. Yeah.
So really encourage you to not be afraid to read anything. I mean, I've read books and gone, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And like the one guy that we take on Udemy sometimes, he's very vocal about higher education, and he goes on, and we just look at each other and roll our eyes. You don't have to agree, and you might totally agree with him. But what you're trying to do by involving yourself in all this reading and thinking and whatever is you keep your mind going, and you try to get different perspectives in there.
Absolutely.
Right? And it really does help. And I think like finding balance for us between...
In everything. Involvement with social stuff, spending too much time in our heads. Eating too much.
Yeah, eating too much.
Well, no, we work on finding balance with that.
Yeah. But I do think when, I always say live your best life or be the best version of yourself. And I really feel overall that that statement is like 100% about finding balance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know
so.
how else you can be the best version of yourself or live your best life if you don't have a sense of balance or a sense of unbalance. Like right now.
And I know that there's a lot of Instagrammers that say live your best life, and they're like spending $1 million because they have a sponsor to travel, to 20 different countries in 2 weeks or whatever. But that's not what we mean by.
And I think the other thing about living your best life is also being the best version of yourself is actually knowing yourself and what it does mean to be the best version of you. Like the best version of me isn't traveling around the world. I don't have that wanderlust or whatever people have. Being the best version of myself is not, and we've talked about this in our status thing, right? People get caught up. Well, if you want to be the best, you've got a great car and you've got this and you've got that and you've got a whole bunch of other things, and you live in the best, a top rated community, or you're here, you're there. That you have to know yourself and what you want and what feels balanced to you, and then you're living your best life.
And the other nice thing that since we've been working on this is we can identify a lot faster when we're sliding off
Yes.
bounds.
And for each other too, right? You can just say, and I think one of the things about that as well is stepping away from people who make you feel unbalanced.
Yeah.
And we've done that with certain people because we just don't find. And, when you are sharing with someone and then realizing that they're not
opening up or
being vulnerable at all back,
then
time to at least, I don't mean you can never see them again.
Well, it depends whether they're able to take that kind of confrontation or whether it's just better to...
But you don't,
wait and see.
That's the Brene Brown thing. Share and be vulnerable with people who have earned the right to hear your story. Yeah. And that to me is one of the most amazing
And
things.
Here we are sharing with the podcast world.
Yeah. Well, not every deep moment, but anyway. And then part of our healthy living is having both a naturopath and a physician,
and
like a medical doctor. And we have so fortunately found, like I would say, one of the top naturopaths
in Niagara.
For sure, she's probably top in Niagara.
Yeah.
Carrie Rongitz.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll put her name in there too. She so does important. Virtual.
Yeah, she does have virtual meetings. It's so important because, she'll look at blood work and everything that your doctor does, but there's a lot of preventative work that you can do with vitamins and amino acids. And yes, I know you can just go to the pharmacy at Walmart and buy a multivitamin, but every person's body is different. And then we already know that there's men's vitamins versus women's vitamins, but even amongst men, different ages, different muscle amounts, different fat content in your body, like all the different vitamins absorb differently. And so it's really better to visit a customized or get a customized kind of profile. And there's minerals and some herbal stuff, but not much. And she can amino acids and
she can help you just understand more about your body. Whereas a doctor, they have a tendency to get their backs up when they're questioned.
Yeah. So
and I know this from personal experience.
One example being celiac, my digestive system will not absorb vitamin B12 properly anymore. And B12 is very important for cognition and mental health and nerve health. And my blood tests always show that I'm okay. I'm within the acceptable range for my age and being male, but it actually is not enough for what my body needs because I start having the low vitamin B12 symptoms. So I actually get B12 once a month or so.
As an injection,
because it goes straight and I absorb it straight through. And it makes a huge difference. If anybody wants to know what changed, I'll let you know if you message us.
Yeah, that has been huge for you, right?
Yep.
But and that's through the naturopath. That's not through the family doctor. So we really highly recommend that you have both and that you're honest with your family doctor. Like I have said to him, well, I'd like a copy of that blood work because I want to take it to my naturopath or,
and Carrie happens to be both a dietitian and a naturopath. So
yeah, there's a lot of,
she
recommends a lot of things. And about dairy and about this. And we eat a lot more goat cheese now than regular cheese just because.
Yep.
And he's drinking oat and goat milk, oat and goat. And I just drink lactose-free milk because it works better for me.
Yep.
So that's it. And then finally, our final little tip is just to have some leisure activities that are outside. Like we own bikes, not phenomenal bikes, but bikes. Walking is a leisure activity.
We're lucky to live by water, so we have a canoe.
Yeah. We have done stand-up paddle boarding, but we can rent those.
During safe times during COVID, we've played outdoor tennis.
So have some leisure activities.
And then our handcrafting is a leisure activity.
Yes, for sure. Like we both knit, sew, crochet, all these other things as well. Plus the cooking, the baking, and I guess when I think about living your best life, I mean, one of my goals in my life, or one of my focus, is to make the world a better place for those people in my circle. So I use my creativity to do that.
Yep.
And that really does, if I'm feeling whatever, I have my little people in my life. So I might go visit, a young mom that I have.
Little people. She means children younger than 5.
Yes. So I go visit them or take them stuff or bake them stuff or make them. So, I mean, I think the big thing is to know yourself and to not get too inside your head. Mm-hmm. And then you're healthy, and to make some smart choices without meaning that you can't do anything fun.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But it really is. We don't smoke and we're not alcoholics. We're not drinking every night. We're not recreationally using drugs. And so I think that's really
when doctors'
important.
forms have that, always list how often you do those things.
Yeah, and we're like, none. And I mean, your body is your body, so stuff's going to happen. But if you focus on the healthy living, the kind of style that fits you and makes you feel like you are the best version of yourself, then that's what you need to discover for yourself. And we're just throwing out
ideas
where we're at. Okay, well, thanks. Next February 28th, we're going to talk about optimism and strength. And I think that COVID has taught us some things about that. And just, I just thought it was a good time to go back over it before we're kind of past the COVID season. And those kinds of things are not, because we're going to quickly slide back into no more masks, no more this, no more that.
Sounds like it.
And life is just going to, and I don't want us to forget that for 2 years, I've worked on optimism and strength because of COVID. And I want to
keep going.
Keep talking about that a bit. So thanks for joining us here on No Room for Phonies, Healthy Living, Voth style.
Oh, I was like, I couldn't remember the tagline. All right. Take care, everybody.